So excitability is the ability to respond to any sort of the stimulation and become active. Striated muscles are, however, more excitable as compared to other muscles. These respond to different stimuli such as mechanical, thermal, chemical, or electrical, and in the living body, nerves are responsible for bringing about the stimulation. Then, second property is conductibility. Once a part of the muscle fiber is stimulated by a stimulus of adequate strength, it is conducted within no time to all its other parts. This property is called as conductibility. Conduction is much faster in striated muscles as compared to other types of muscles. So, excitability is nothing but it is the ability to respond to any sort of the stimulus, maybe mechanical, chemical, thermal, or electrical, in the living body, and the nerves are responsible to for bringing about the stimulation. Conduction means what? Conduction is nothing but it is a part of the muscle fiber. It is stimulated by a stimulus of adequate strength. When a muscle fiber is provided with adequate strength, maybe mechanical, chemical, or electrical, you will see that the it is conducted within no time, within very short time, or to all its other body parts, and this is to all its other parts, and this property is called as conductibility, and it is most faster in the case of striated muscles as compared to the other types of muscles. Then contractility. All the three types of muscles, that is cardiac, striated, and the smooth muscles, they possess the property of contraction and relaxation, and these two actions together constitute the twitch. So one single contraction followed by relaxation brings about the single muscle twitch. Muscles can be stimulated by mechanical, thermal, chemical, or electrical. Muscles can be stimulated by mechanical, thermal, chemical, or electrical stimuli. Nerves are responsible for bringing about the stimuli in the body. When a muscle is contracted, it will shorten and become thicker, but its total volume barely changes. Contraction is stronger as well as faster in striated muscles as compared to other types of muscles. Then the next property is tonicity. All the muscles in the body at a given time are never found in a perfectly relaxed state. Although showing no outward signs of activity, they are in a state of mild contraction which causes them to resist being stretched. This activity of muscle is known as muscle tone. So, all the muscles in the body at a given time, they are never found in a perfectly relaxed state. Although showing no outward signs of activity, they are in a state of mild contraction. So, all the muscles in the body at a given time, they are never in the relaxed state, but they always show some mild contraction taking place within the muscles, uh, which causes them to get stretched. So, this activity of muscle is known as the muscle tonus. Then the tensility and elasticity. All the muscles possess the property of tensility, that is the ability to stretch to a limited extent. When the cause producing the stretching of the muscle disappears, the muscle resumes its former state, or the original state gets relaxed, and this is called as the elasticity. Then the threshold or liminal or subliminal and supraliminal stimuli. All the muscles contract only when they receive the stimulation of a certain strength. The lowest limit of stimulus capable to bring contraction in muscles is called the threshold. So the lowest limit of the stimulus, maybe mechanical, chemical, or electrical, which is capable to bring about the contraction in the muscles, is called the threshold or the liminal stimulus. A stimulus which is weaker than the threshold stimulus, which fails to bring the contraction of the muscle, is called the subliminal stimulus. So, even if a low stimuli or a weak stimuli, it is capable to bring about the contraction in the muscles, then it is called as the threshold or liminal stimuli. And when the stimulus is weaker or more lower, we can say, than the threshold stimuli, more weaker than the threshold stimuli, it will fail to bring about the contraction of the muscle, and then it will be called as the subliminal stimulus. And the stimulus which is stronger than the threshold, and if the stimulus is stronger than the threshold stimulus, then it is called as the supraliminal stimulus. Then refractory period. After stimulation, there is a brief period during which the muscle does not remain in an excitable state. This period is called the refractory period or the period of relaxation of muscles. Refractory period means the rest period. So when after the stimulation, there is a brief period during which the muscle will not remain in an excitable state, and this period will be called as the refractory period or the period of relaxation of muscles. Then the period of latent excitation and contraction of muscles. The period between the application of the stimulus and the beginning of the muscular contraction is called the period of latent excitation or the latent period. So when the muscle is applied with some stimulus, and the beginning of the muscular contraction, the period between the application of stimulus and the beginning of the muscular contraction is called the period of latent excitation or the latent period. The period during which the muscle remains in a contraction state, it is called the period of contraction or the shortening of the muscles. Then the last part is the contractile proteins. Now we have studied that there are basically two types of the contractile proteins, myosin protein and the actin proteins. Now myosin are what? It is the protein of thick filament of the myofibril. It has a molecular weight of about 500,000, which is about 10 times the molecular weight of actin. Its molecule is much more complicated than the actin, and one of its most important properties is that it is an ATPase which will enzymatically hydrolyze ATP to form ADP and inorganic phosphate. The reaction is calculated